welcome back to Inspiriment, guys. We have an incredibly special episode this week that I've been waiting for a long time. One of my good friends, Alma, otherwise known as VanimeSole, is our second guest on the podcast, and he shares some beautiful knowledge, some stuff that I'd never even heard of before that I'm so pumped that we got to share with you guys for the first time. So I'm not going to spoil a whole lot of it. Alma is the first Copic sneaker customizer and has built a beautiful community around it and has a lot of experiences centered around that as well. So I hope you guys enjoy the episode, and we'll talk to you soon.
Like in neither community, Paint or Copic, we have yet to find a way to turn both crafts into a legitimate fine art.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a hard line to cross. Like, how can you make your one pair of shoes that's custom, that's used licensed characters valued at X amount? Like, it becomes like we essentially still fall into a fan base, and it's going to be really hard to fix that when everybody else is just pulling from each other. It's just like you got to branch out and do different shit. Everybody that I've come to really enjoy and look at their work, they're doing different shit. They're doing different things. One of my favorites is actually Shoemaker.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, bro, because it's his wordplay. Like, it's what he's trying to get at. What he's doing right now is not what his end product's going to look like. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. Like, he's in an experimental stage. He's also growing, so it works.
Yeah.
Like,
he's growing like wildfire, dude. Nick's killing it recently.
It works. But at the same time, it's like he has made it very clear, like, he's not trying to make the best looking thing for everybody. He's trying to make something different. In a process of making something different, you're going to make a lot of things people don't like. So, but there is going to be that community, that supporter group that does like it, that does fuck with it, and I think he does really good at that. I honestly think he has something pretty big waiting for him somewhere, for sure. Yeah, I like his page a lot.
I saw on his page that he meant on one of his stories, he was talking about how his goal is to be in Walmart like Shaq. And that resonated with me a lot, because I was like, I don't want to do that, but I totally understood where he was coming from and why he would want that. Like, and it's also interesting to me, because I've told you this before, Sean, but like it's pretty much universally accepted that the only way to measure the quality of art is through influence a lot of the time, because it's so subjective. So to me, like, you could look at Nick's work and be like, all right, well, it's a strawberry on a shoe. So that's cool, I guess. Or you could look at it and you're like, well, okay, who is he trying to appeal to with this? Like, what's the point? I mean, there's just so much creativity to it. And it really does have that almost like, it's just so whimsical. Like, I could totally see something like, as it progresses and it stops becoming so much of an experiment and more of like a refined product after the experiments, that it could belong in somewhere like Walmart, which would be fucking awesome. Like, and how can you say that's not art at that point, whenever your influence is bigger than any other customizer of all time?
Yeah, I think what he has over pretty much everybody at this point is it's a strawberry on a shoe, but it's a strawberry on a shoe 20 people can have. I mean, 20 people can't have my shoes. Like, there's just no way, bro. And even if it came out printed, they don't look the same.
I hate printed shoes.
Oh, bro, me too. I see that shit and I'm just like, please, for everything that I've ever worked for, please get that face. Like, unless I'm the one printing the shoes, you know what I mean? Like, and even at that, I struggle with that. I don't even like fucking, I can't even do the transfer process. I can't even trace my fucking work. Like, for Copic is very different, bro. I don't know if you guys have given it a shot, but like, like, if I asked you to draw something and then I asked you to paint it, they would be two completely different processes. But it's not like that with Copic. Like, there's just a different feel to paint. You know what I mean? Like, the strokes are different. Everything's just a little different. and
What the fuck you laughing at, Sean?
Oh, I'm gonna let him finish.
yeah, but like the Copic is it feels illustrative. It feels like if you sat down at school with your fucking Crayola markers and colored, like there's not really a whole even the you know what I mean? I can put the markers away and just it's just different. There's a whole different process to it. It doesn't feel the same. However, like there's a lot of benefits that I do like from paint in the process. I like the idea that sometimes it's a different feel than drawing. Like that's what makes it cool. Like that's what makes it different. It's a different set of skills.
Yeah. I was laughing because when he was saying that, I agree 1,000% because it's funny, right? Like I was cleaning out my closet like a couple days ago and I found like this picture of Iron Man that I had made in high school and I painted it and it looks so terrible because in high school it's like I knew how to draw, but I didn't know how to paint. So I had no idea what I was doing. I made it in art class and bro, it looks so bad. It's literally like you said, it's just like it's the approach of it is completely different. So I'm looking at my stuff now and I'm looking at that picture. I'm like, bro, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
Bro, it's crazy. Yeah, I was gonna say I remember looking back at my drawings and paintings back in high school and even in college. And so I went to like a small liberal arts college called Washington Jefferson, and like there's no art. I mean, there was an art program, but it was like it was nothing. I mean, it's super low budget. There's like 10 art majors each year. And like the teachers were pretty good and they were serious, but the students never really took it serious, including myself. And it was kind of the same thing in high school where like I was always talented, but like I'd never put any effort into anything at all. It was like, so my drawings to me, whenever I think about them, I'm like, oh man, I was the shit back then. Like these drawings were crazy. Everybody was telling me how good they were. And I looked back recently, especially at my paintings in college. And God, bro, they're just the most shallow pieces of garbage on the planet. Like I could bullshit my way through it like a critique, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, this is like I see where you're going from. Could use some improvement." But like meanwhile, one of the paintings that I did was literally just like a rip off of the BioShock game. It was like it was literally a quote from BioShock, and
that's a badass game though, bro. So like,
that's a great game, but nobody knew that. I was like,
yeah.
And I feel bad now because I just wasted my time and other people's time because like I could have been much better if I took it serious. But secondly, I didn't lie, but I didn't tell them that it wasn't your original like in any way. It was literally just fucking BioShock. So it's pretty funny looking back.
Yeah, when I think of my art in school, bro, I actually failed my art class. I was art club president and I failed my fucking art class.
You were art club president.
I was art club my teacher, which at the time I also like pretty much heavily disagreed with, and I would do every assignment she said. I wasn't the type of kid to go against it because it's what I wanted. We just didn't click, and like, But at the same time, there was a while that we did, and so that was around the time I got put as art club president, and there was no students that wanted to join art club. So I had like 4 or 5 friends that I hang out with every day after school. So they joined the art club. And then we would just fuck off together at school for art club. Like we didn't ever do anything. It was up to me to plan events. What the fuck am I gonna do? They're not gonna take it serious, bro. I already knew they weren't gonna take it serious. So we just fucked up. Yeah, but I failed my art class. And that's still something that really gets me because it's just like I never even took that serious. I was like, I know I can draw. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Dude, at this point, we honestly, I don't want to lose any of this conversation. I might just do the intro like off Zoom, like off this conversation. Just keep this going because I think like this is beautiful. It's so funny you say that, dude, because like when I was back in high school too, we had some really good artists, but I literally all art class, I have videos. I have full folders of videos and pictures of me just fucking with my like half senile art teacher who like she was so old and super needed to retire, but like bless her heart, she was so nice. And but she was a big hothead, so we had an absolute blast doing just bizarre shit. Like one time we took all the duct tape in the room and wrapped our hands entirely in duct tape, and then just put and duct taped them to the table like this for the whole fucking period. And then she was like screaming at us to do our artwork, and we were like, I don't know how you want me to do my artwork. My hands are duct taped to the table. And she was like, you need to unduct tape your hands. And I was like, it's gonna take all period. And we just sat there unwrapping our hands.
Bro, I can't even imagine something like that happening in my school. A lot of the students in my school, everybody was so fucking opposite. Like, you could barely get us to talk in one room. Like, you'd have to really force us to do some shit. I mean, I don't know what size of the school you were in, but just my senior class alone was like 2,000 kids.
Oh my dude, we graduated in 99. That was my senior class. 99 people.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Bro, no way.
School.
You went to a private school, Sean?
Talking about you.
No, it was public, bro. It was just a small
bro.
redneck city.
Bro, my school was all kind of nonsense going on, bro.
I feel that.
Like my area, there's like each school had like a reputation or like a nickname. So my school was considered like the drug school and the emo school. Then there's another school I used to call that Highland, but they used to call it Holand. It was just like weird, bro. But like art class for me is like I only took art because I knew I can get an A. It's like I didn't know, and I don't know, and hopefully it's different now, but it's like when I was in school, like my teachers never told me what I would need to do to improve my art. Like knowing what I know now of how to improve like your character design or even just drawing cartoon characters, anime characters, just starts with, you know, gesture, anatomy, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like none of my teachers would tell me or knew or whatever that's what I needed to study to go in college if I want to do stuff like that. So it was just kind of just like I didn't know, bro. So I'm just not really paying attention. And because I played basketball, it was just kind of like a side hobby that I did because I knew I could do it. But it's just like, it's unfortunate though, because I know there's a lot of people. And like I said, I think now people have more access because you can just go on YouTube and pretty much find tutorials and go to Gumroad and all these different websites to learn. But it just kind of sucks that, you know, I don't know if it's different for you guys, like I said, but back when I was in school, there's kind of like, or at least from my school, there's no direction. Because it's just like, I'm thinking like now, if I knew then what I know now, how much further I would be, bro.
Yeah. It's why I teach. It's exactly why, bro. Like there was just nobody there. When you really think about it, it's like, it's not even that people didn't have the knowledge. It's just some people just didn't want to share.
Yeah.
And like, I get it, but I don't, because I came from the perspective of like you not having that. And that fucking, it's a different feeling, bro. It's just, it's not that you want a helping hand. It's just that, yo, that would have been fucking nice. A little bit. Just so some type of influence that's there pushing, telling you that the direction you're doing is at least right, or like even some guidance with some fucking few colors or something, bro. But yeah, like I tried. I really do give a hats off to you guys with the painting. Like it's not that it's unlikable or anything, but it is. At the time when I got into it, there was so many people trying to keep it to themselves that it was actually pretty toxic around the time I tried. But Instagram had just started. That was like 2010, 2012, you know, like,
oh my God, dude.
People are moving. So it's like, I can understand at that point, and I'm glad it led me to do something else that I've really enjoyed and I've had success with. But painting was really hard to get into. It was really closed off. And the idea that, like Sean and Dylan even exist to give out that information on that end of the craft That's fucking tight, bro. That wasn't a thing. That was not a thing. And it's easily looked over. It's like there's so much access to information now that like it's honestly kind of spoiled people.
For sure. Yeah, now we
Because
don't want to see it anymore. Like people are tired of seeing information.
yeah, it's also just like they just they don't know what to value because they haven't had to work for it the same way.
Yeah.
How are they supposed to know? For them, it's just in a video.
Hmm.
How do you bring it across? You know, how do you make people understand this shit is not, I'm giving it to you now, but this is like 2 years of experience.
Yeah.
You know, this is like I'm shortening your, if I'm pretty sure if there was an artist out there that actually took all of us serious and watched every single one of our videos and did the work in a year, they'd probably be like a god tier fucking shoe designer in the
Yeah.
matter of really.
No, so true. I
People
was
don't want
just
to do the
thinking about
work
that.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but dude, and it's hard too, because like, how do you know it's hard to know who to trust too. Like there's so much information, especially on YouTube, and not specifically with customs, but like if you're trying to learn art, right? Like if you look up, drawing proportional heads, you'll find like 5 or 6 like fully accepted methods, and even within like the Loomis method, which is probably the most accepted method, then you'll find hundreds of different creators all making a video on it. So then you have to pick the different creators that like, either have the best thumbnail or the most subscribers because you feel like, you're most comfortable with them and they probably are the best at what they're doing. So it's the same thing on Instagram. And it's like you see videos and you see tutorials of things, but there are tutorials that I watch, a couple years ago from like, good customizers, great people that were just giving wrong information too. They just didn't
yeah.
know. Yeah,
Yeah,
you just don't know. Like
but
how do you make that decision of who to watch and who to trust, to get better?
I'm honestly very blunt, bro. Like for the most part, and I'll be real with you. I agree with you on that. I cannot fucking stand when I teach somebody something and then in a fucking month's time, while they're still learning, they turn around and try to teach that one thing.
Exactly.
I'm like, you don't go to math class and leave math class and then go fucking teach it somewhere else. Like, it's just not a thing, bro. And I understand. I think it starts. Like I'll analyze the situation, and I'm like, it's the views.
Oh, how
I'm
can it
like,
be anything else?
exactly. But it's like when you call it out, it's like it's the views, right? Not about what you're actually doing, not about actually enjoying it. You don't really care. You think has some type of fucking benefit you're gonna get like some quick fucking progress. No, if you're actually expecting to make it how you think, you're fucking severely wrong. You're gonna spend 3 years going in a circle before you figure that out.
It's the big problem is people want influence so bad that they want to start teaching and they want people to listen to them so they feel like they're influential. And it's just like you can't force it, bro. It's like I don't need I that wasn't even on my radar. Like I was just literally just trying to get better and improve. And I try to tell people that it's like if you take time out to improve your craft, people are going to naturally want to learn from you because they like your work. You don't have to force it, bro. It's just like if Michael Jordan wants to teach you how to play basketball, who's not going to listen?
Yeah.
As opposed to some average mediocre player. And that's what I keep trying to tell people. Instead of trying to force influence, man, just work on your craft and get good to the point to where people want to listen to you. I don't know, bro. It's weird, but
No, you're right. I had a Discord full of good people. Everybody was really working hard, and it was a big learning experience for me. And that was one of them. It's like I'm not an experienced teacher, and I was learning that at the time, and it was really easy over time to tell, because before my Discord, I actually had taught some people before Discord, and those are the people I'm mainly referencing when I say like they would look at my videos and or do whatever, look at my shit, and then try to like cop it. And when I made Discord, it was more like very family oriented, very personal. It's honestly why I dipped for a few years. It's where I was at. I was in Discord. I was streaming every day on Discord, just about. You couldn't. not catch me live on Discord. I was essentially doing the same thing on Twitch, but just to a private group of people. And there's some really talented artists that came out of it. They're badass. Like, they found their own way to do things, and I think that's what you want, you know, when you're teaching. Although I was kind of a dick, and it was pretty difficult, and I didn't ever really let myself fully transfer into that, like that type of friend that you would actually go help move some shit. We're cool, we're friends, we're close, but that's a level that I felt like I couldn't get to yet, because I still had to, like, think of things to teach. And that's really hard when you like a group of people and you shut yourself out from that, mainly because it's just not beneficial to their learning experience, because then you blur the line and now you don't know what you are. You're a really close friend, or you're a really close teacher. It's like, which one are you today? And it's like, you just got to be a teacher all the time. So
dude, I want to ask you this, because this was going into this. This is like the one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, and it's it's what I like often go. You already know this, but I always go to Alma for advice in this area, where you started Copic on shoes, and you had to learn your craft and get the best at it. I mean, granted, at the beginning you were the only one at it, but over time also the best at it. And you had to teach people that, really all with the purpose of like growing the community and the art form, right? So in every way, to me, you were a pioneer in that. And for me, with the AR shoes, I always think about you and turn to you whenever I have questions of like, hey, you know, do you feel like I'm on the right track with this? Like, do you feel like there are decisions I should be making? Like, we had a conversation the other day about, you know, how to introduce it into different communities, and making like an anime AR shoe, and then letting people like yourself or like Sean spread that and do with it what they will, you know, and give feedback. So my question, and I think a lot of people want to know this, is if there's somebody with an idea like the AR shoes or like the coping markers, where they want to be a pioneer and they want to start growing, then what's your advice for beginning that journey?
Get ready to fucking starve. Like, because it's not going to be good for you. It's not. Like, I would love to sugarcoat that, but it's just facts. Like, there's no way. You're starting something completely new and you're trying to fund it from other sources. It's pulling your time all over the place, and then you'll eventually have to teach it so it can grow, so you can benefit more from the growth of it. So you know, you're known as somebody that started that, but you got to really love what you're doing. You got to be fucking delusional a little bit. I know you probably sometimes live in your head with ideas and where it could be versus than what it actually is right now. That's what makes it work. If you can do that, you can make it happen. But if you don't, if you're fucking drawing, you're like, oh, what am I gonna eat later today, bro? That's some end level shit. Like, that's end goal stuff. Like, you need to be thinking all the time in the middle of your current project, what's next? What am I doing next? And if you don't know the answer, that usually means you're on the right track. Like, because if you know the answer of what's coming, then why even do it? Like, it's pointless. I did everything I did because I truly cared for it. Like, I tied my brother, I tied, you know, who passed away, I tied my best friend who passed away. I tied everybody that I grew up with to that invested in me. You know, I was literally fucking homeless over it. I don't know, in my craft, I don't know another shoe designer that was homeless over it. You never see my perspective. They're just different. And the biggest thing with it is like, I guess this main thing I'm trying to get at when I say starve, I mean starve in all aspects. I don't mean just financially, bro. I don't mean just food. I mean in friends. I mean in time and family, and like all the things that you think that you're trying to support and matter, like, you will lose a lot of those things. Like, you are making a massive sacrifice. You will starve. without those things. So just get ready to fucking starve because it's there, you know.
Yeah,
But
bro.
yeah,
That's real as all hell. I definitely feel that. I definitely have faced that, and I completely resonate with that. And yeah, honestly, that's kind of the hardest thing on a day-to-day basis is like, you know, I don't know if I'm sure it's the same for you too, and I'm sure it's the same for you as well, Sean. Like as you go into kilo and like when you were starting up, um, but you don't know when it's going to end or if it's ever going to end. Like the struggle of it. Like there's a very real possibility that it just doesn't ever become like what's in your head. You can take every step that you can possibly imagine and improve and look back and all with the mindset that at some point you're going to figure it out and it's going to click, and if you're consistent enough you'll get there. And the reality is sometimes that doesn't happen, and it's
yeah,
it's how it's how long can you hold out. It's like a waiting game, but I don't know, man. That's kind of the biggest struggle for me is I don't ever want to quit, but it's like at a certain point, you have different values, like you said, like your family and your friends. And if your top priority is always this job and it's always pioneering this, it's like how much are you willing to lose? Are you willing to like literally be one of two or three people in your life? Are you willing to drop like almost everything? Are you willing to drop your free time? Are you willing to drop all your money
yeah,
into it? Can you live without any luxuries? Can you spend like $5 on yourself a month other than your bills? Like
yeah.
how much do you actually care? And sometimes it's scary to think that like you may end up caring for something that just won't come to fruition.
Yeah. No, you're right. I actually when I saw Sean's Kilo project, I thought that was some of the coolest shit on the fucking planet. Like like
Thanks,
for
sir.
real. It really is tight. Like there's so many different that's what I'm saying. It's different. It's not what you're used to seeing, and I guess that's what I'm a fan of, but it's really hard to get others to be a fan of that because they don't know that feeling. It's like you almost have to hit both, both categories of people at the same time. It's like, how do you, that's the hard one. How do you fucking do that? How do I relate what I'm doing means a lot to me, and how do I make it mean a lot to other people? It's like, you just want to share something. It's not even about the likes or views. That's cool. Yeah, great. But like, this is what I'm working on. Like, this is like, it's like your friend fucking coming over and showing you a new thing that they were doing, it's like just online. And I think the thing that really sucks for a lot of artists is you use your art as validation if it's good enough to be friends with certain people.
Hmm.
And that shouldn't be a thing. I've met amazing people that don't do art full time like how I do, and they don't invest the same amount of time, but they have shit ton of potential and they're really great people. And like I could talk to them all fucking day. And it's just like that, bro. Like I don't think that's really fair a lot of the time too, that people are just we do it to ourselves really. We're like, fuck, my work isn't like that. So like I can't really talk to them, or like we don't do the same line of work, so we can't really, it's like who fucking cares? Like, it doesn't really matter. It's just, are you interested? Are you willing to support? Are you willing to reshare? Are you willing to, you know? It's like that. I think that's what really does it. I have some people that have shared stuff with me, or shared my work, that like have have meant the world to me just because they share it. They don't even haven't even bought
Me
it,
too.
You know what I'm talking about. It's like
For
there's
sure.
people that stand out. There's people that mean a lot to you.
Yeah. I was trying to tell Sean the same thing. Whenever I was big and successful, then Sean came into my DMs and he started saying, dude, like I was so nervous to talk to you. And, I'm such a big fan of your work. And,
I
you
remember you
know,
telling me that. I remember you
yeah,
telling me that. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I was like, Sean, dude, like I'm just a person, you know,
Mhm.
I'm just like you, one and the same. So like, don't be afraid to shoot me a text here or there. And I really think that opened Sean up, and he's been a whole different person ever
I
since.
remember, bro. Sean sent me a screenshot of that DM saying he
Yeah,
responded to
yeah,
me, bro.
yeah. See, I got some validation here.
Yeah.
And now look where we're at, dude. Now you're at the big time, Sean. You've made it, dude.
Yeah,
This
now you
dude
are
is
closer
wild.
than ever, bro. It's crazy. He got what he wanted,
Uh,
you know?
Yeah, I think Sean played me. Wait a second. Wait a
this is
fucking second. Now I'm the
crazy.
host. And he just gets to show up once so we can talk.
Hell yeah.
I
Not
was like, I'm still a hermit, but yeah, I don't have. I mean, I have friends obviously that I text and talk, but bro, I sit in my house all day. It's like even when
mm,
it came to like meeting people in the community, or it's like I'm extremely introverted, so I didn't really talk to anybody.
you know,
And so it's just like once people would start talking to me, we'd been mad cool. It's just I had a hard time opening up to you because that's how I've always been, bro. I've always kept to myself.
yeah.
But yeah, man, those DMs you're talking about, bro. I remember that day like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wink.
And when I first talked to Sean, he had told me he had a kid, and I know that sounds like it shouldn't be as important of a connection, but like I think when your kids mean a lot to you, and somebody else, they value their kids in the same way. It's like I respect that. It's like it's a lot of time you're investing into these shoes, bro. There's some days I'm pretty sure you wish you were hanging out with your kid and you're painting or
Yeah.
you're doing something. It's like that shit's hard. It really is. It's like what type of influence do you have at home? Like where it feels like it's important. And if you're isolating and being in your own bubble, I think that's even better. I think anybody that's actually your friend is gonna understand like fuck that, bro. Like he's with his family. You know what I mean? He's doing his own shit. Like there's no time to be up everybody's ass. Like I don't get on my phone and get on my DMs and hit everybody back. I would love to, but it's bad on my mental health, man. Like, when I grew on Instagram at first, I was just like this for years. You know how much I lost out on just doing that? Like I don't really care about relationship, like not friendship but actual love interest relationship. I lost a lot of that, over shoes. But I can't count how many times I looked down at my phone and my kids were running around my feet and I was telling them, hey, hold up, and I don't live with my kids. I separated from their mothers, but like I wish I would have put my fucking phone down, you know because like that's what I had at the time. So like if you're isolating, shit, I'm all for that. Shit. If you can teach me how to isolate more, I'll take that too. Like,
A YouTube video.
yeah, for real. It's crazy. And then the content, bro. I don't get Sean, I give you something, man. I don't see how you or Dylan can sit there on camera and just talk and not like fuck up.
Hey,
Like
bro.
record yourself. Like what I mean, like so long. You know what I mean? You go a pretty good span in your conversation, like before you have to do another clip. For me, hell no.
Bro,
I'm
I was
recording shit over and over.
dude, that's how I am okay, so if you watch my first video on YouTube compared to now, it's like night and day. Like, bro, my first couple were terrible. I think honestly what helped me were the lives, and that's the honest to God truth. Us going live every week for that year, I just slowly started getting more and more comfortable in front of the camera. I've never liked cameras my whole life. I've never liked talking in front of people. I hate presentations, all of that. The lives helped me a lot. So, the interviews and all of that stuff kind of got me used to being in front of the camera. So now when I record, it's like it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
So I got a question for you guys. Where do you Zach, you get a pretty good view into the anime community, so I think you have a pretty good round to say. If anything, you do spectate it a lot, so you might have more to say. But
Yeah, I'm unbiased, you know.
so, so I'm curious, with customs specifically based around anime, where do you guys think that's going?
Sean, you want to go first?
Hell yeah.
Um,
So let my protege go first.
Yeah.
Fuck is that?
Go ahead, young blood.
I don't know, man. I think we see it happening where these major companies are noticing customs more and more, so they're now starting to put characters and stuff on their shoes. I don't really know where it's going to go. I mean, I think people are going to have to keep doing newer and newer things to stay relevant. Because even if you notice things now, like even with anime, like the reactions people are having to anime custom sneakers now aren't what they were 3 years ago or when they first started getting popular. You know, now it's just like people are so used to seeing them, they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a tough one to answer. I know for sure, like I said, the major companies are going to start incorporating those designs more. And what I really hope happens is they start using customizers to collab with. Because I think customizers overall designs look a lot better. I know it's probably going to be more so of a legal and money issue. You know, is it going to sell? Is it too much? It's not simple enough, but I think there are people out there that will be more than happy to pay for more over the top anime design shoes if they're done right.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's an interesting take. And I agree in some ways, and I also disagree in some ways, because I think anime customs right now are super maximalist. I think that all the top anime customizers I can think of, like Sean, you know, Mr. Calling Me Fresh over here, Enzo, and yourself, Ama, VanimeSole. I'd say are the three top customizers to me right now, or at least the ones with that people look to as the top anime customizers. And if I'm missing somebody, please correct me too. But all three of you guys, I think what you have in common right now is your shoes are very maximalist. Like even you, Alma, you used to leave the soles white on every pair, and now you're straight set, like straight paint and everything. It's like how much can you pack in to this silhouette? And I think just you know, if we can relate back to fashion, then fashion has a minimalist and maximalist ebb and flow that goes to it, where it'll respond to a certain amount of time of minimalist, where it's like, you know, right now we're in a what they call like, you know, entering a ballet core type trend where it's very distressed, it's very like dark tones, very natural, but it's very simple. It's like streetwear meets, you know, higher end fine art type thing. So naturally, what is going to happen is that we're going to enter a maximalist era where, you know, houses are going to start introducing more. I don't know how to say it. Almost like costumey type, like couture type work. And I know this may not sound like it relates back to anime customs anyway, but the relationship is that I think that the opposite is true in anime right now, where for so long people have been trying to add more to their shoes. And I think what's going to end up happening is you're going to see people like Andu.c who are making these more colorway centered anime customs become more and more popular as time goes on. And I think that some artists are going to have to, you know, decide whether or not they want to keep packing all this detail and like all this story into their shoes, or if they're going to want to move with the trend as well.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be interesting because I agree with you that I think more brands are going to want to work with you, but I don't know that it's going to be because of the current style. And I think it may end up being more because of the adaptation after this current time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I actually agree with both of you. I think both of them are very real scenarios. My brain mainly plays out that, especially coming from the brand collaboration, specifically with anime related companies, like, bro, they're looking for somebody that's like just like them, willing to dedicate their whole life to these series and really invest in them. And so it's not as it's a hard gap to cross to like, oh, do I want to work with this shoe designer? And if so, then there's like, well, how passionate is like, where's the passion at? Like now you're just a fan of these series, or you're essentially hiring a fan of these series to make official merch. That's that's pretty big leap there, you know. But I also found myself, you know, I haven't even posted any of the new type of work or direction that I'm taking. I haven't shared a fucking thing, and
Uh-huh.
it's funny because it lines up with what you said. Like I got to that point where I was just like, I have done the most detail on a fucking pair that I think I could get.
Yeah. You could
And,
tell.
and,
Yeah.
and and if I went further than that and I added more, it would just be a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
So my resolve was actually taking a step back and fitting more muted tones than vibrant tones, because I use tons of color. And so I took a step back and just muted a lot of my work and only use color to emphasize on areas that are important.
I can't wait to see this.
And the style is a little different. It's still slip-ons for fun, but it's just it's a different take on my work, and the visuals are barely gonna include my work. That's kind of the point. So it's like, this is essentially what I was getting at. Sean had a major point where he was saying like, that anime was a lot, the anime customers were a lot bigger 3 years ago, and now it's just the same thing. It's the same fucking thing because everybody is doing the same fucking videos. Like, what else are we supposed to give them? You know, like in each craft, you know, there's a certain formation that I see reels and TikToks fall into for painters, and there's a certain video formation I see reels and TikToks fall into for Copic work. It's like, where is the separation? How are they supposed to see anything else? It's like front down view, side view, fucking flick transitions. Like, what? Like, that's not how the work actually works. You know, like there's a whole vibe in the room. There's a whole personality in the room that is not the shoes. And I don't think until we start capturing our own personalities and our own our work environment, I don't think it's going to take that next step forward. I really don't. I think people need to grow individually to see where they're at, but still be in the same line of work. No different than anybody that's in a sport. We just use UFC. All these fighters they do the same fucking thing. They do, but they're different personalities, and it works. They have their own brand. So it's like, I think we need that. We need that with shoe design. I really don't think we'll make a step into where anime customs will actually really exist in the same way until that's done, because finances, you can't just keep bumping your head over and over. You know, you got to make money. So it's like, if you're not making some money with the work that you're doing, then you're wasting your time. So it's like, after a while, you got to click. You got to start getting your gears turning and doing different shit. And it's hard to reprogram yourself. That's initially what my big step back was because of this question I asked you. I asked myself that, and I didn't like the answer I got. So I was just like, if I could do what I could for myself to make it different, what would it be? And a whole visual rebrand. Even, you know, even down to, I was so close. If VanimeSole didn't work for me, I was honestly going to remove it and put my name. Like,
For real? Damn.
yeah. I mean, I'm also hitting the wall at some point too. You know, it's like, how long could I do work on Vans under VanimeSole before it gets, so say I did blow up, say it went off, bro, say I'm fucking moving, why would they want to give me that much power over there? My name's so similar. It's VanimeSole. Like,
Yeah.
and then I do an official anime collaboration with them. Like, if that was even a thing, people are going to confuse it. Oh, Vans and VanimeSole collab. Like, what's the difference? Like, they're going to put it together as soon as they see it. It's too much power under me who they don't know. So it's like, that's why the Crunchyroll Expo, was one of my favorite things I've probably done because it was my first collab ever that I did under my real name.
That's sick.
So, you know, like I didn't have VanimeSole on Crunchyroll website. It was my name. And I like that. I liked the feeling of it a lot. And I was like, okay. It's a weird rebrand because it's me. It's been me my whole life. But like,
Yeah.
now you got to
Yeah,
introduce
yeah.
people to that. But yeah, videos. I think video footage is the perspective on the art. The art should be this to me at this point should be the subtle hint. It should be the one thing in the video that actually comes last, not
Damn.
first. Because if somebody makes it to the end of the video, which your views are going to be shit, by the way. But if you find a way to capture, how many videos have you seen people pouring fucking coffee and people stay for the whole video? You can find a way to keep somebody throughout the whole process. But when
Yeah.
they get to the end of it and people start understanding that there's something at the end, I think it'll move. And all of us can do it because for me, if I was to record my life here, nobody could copy that. It's my life. Even if they tried to copy it, it would still be fucking different. Like I win, you know, it's like I got what I wanted, you know. But that's really what pushed me away from Instagram and TikTok was that question. And I was trying to find an answer I liked.
I like that.
Yeah. And for the most part, I mean, I guess this is a good place to really say it too, because it's with you guys. But I'm taking a massive step back from customs period, bro. Like my work will only be scattered throughout the year. For the most part, I'm gonna focus on tattooing with Corinne and enjoy my family time. I'm 31, and I know that if I really wanted to see shoes move how I want, it's gonna take another 4 or 5 years. My son, my oldest son, he's gonna be 13 this year. He'll be 18, and I don't think I'm willing to sacrifice that time to try to see if something's gonna work when, you know, I'm doing. It just doesn't make sense to me. I need time with him, you know, and his time in his life. It doesn't even matter what I achieve. He's gonna look back and be like, "But you didn't hang out with me."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's the whole reason I'm doing it. So I was just like, I'm gonna do my thing in private. I mean, Corinne, you know, Corinne owns her shop, and I work in there all the time, and it makes sense for me to be there. It's like you know, how cool is that, bro? Like I get to work with my significant other in a shop. We get to enjoy our lives in private. I get the best of both worlds. Why would I not want to do that? And then I still get to do my shoes for fun to the side. So what the fuck? Like I'm winning. And maybe and I already proved to myself that consistency isn't really anything that's needed to make it. You just got to put out quality shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, what am I doing? You know? Like go have I think it's like that time to go have fun. For the most part, a lot of the active work and it was another thing I wanted to prove in the COVID community. What happens when I disappear? It's died down. You almost never see it. You're not really seeing Copic Customs anymore. What happens when I die down? What happens when I disappear? It's been very apparent in the past 6 months that my end of the craft has declined heavily in content. And I really hoped that some of the people I taught that have a shit ton of potential will step up and help push that, because that's craft's been my child for like years now, and I want to see it taken care of. And I invested time into people that I trust that I feel would do that. So
Yeah.
I think I don't know, man. I think a lot. I don't know a lot, but I think most people eventually, I'm not going to say outgrow customs, but I think people start realizing or maybe get bored, but there's more to what they can do. Right. I think we all kind of like elevate because maybe we get so tired of doing the same things repetitively over and over again to where we realize that there's more out there for us to do, right? Like even somebody like Mosh, you know, Mosh has pretty much accomplished everything and anything within the custom scene. And I know he made, you know, not saying I know how much he made, but obviously he made decent money for him to be doing it for as long as he did it. But even him, right, he started making his own silhouettes, because I think eventually you just kind of outgrow it, because again, it's just like 15, 20 years from now, do you see yourself painting shoes for another 15 to 20 years?
Mhm.
Right? How is it sustainable? But will you enjoy painting shoes for the next 15 to 20 years? And I think like even like, Zach, he's a customized, but he's doing 3D sculptures and AR work. And I think eventually he will probably want to start doing more things within that space, maybe even some things that are fashion related, maybe more NFT projects. Me, I love custom, but I still now, I'm starting my own stuff with Kilo. Now, whether I write a story and it becomes an actual short story book, if we can get it animated, like who knows? But I think eventually you just start outgrowing. I'm not saying necessarily outgrowing in the way of it just like sucks, but maybe you learn so much and you start feeling like you've kind of accomplished most of the things and learned what you've learned doing customs, that now you kind of want to explore other things and see where that can take you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I think you're 100% right, Sean. And I think one of the important things for me, and we are talking about how to tie together your Kilo story and like what made sense to what kind of a story made sense to present with painting on a Kilo characters on a pair of shoes, like why a pair of shoes. And we were talking about how your world is a hip hop inspired world. It's like martial arts and hip hop inspired world. So really you don't have to look any further other than have been a massive part of the hip hop industry and culture forever since its inception. So there's no explanation needed. Like it just naturally makes sense in your world to paint on a pair of shoes. For me, shoes represent it like an inherent relationship between people. It's like you really could have picked almost anything, but to me, shoes are where I belong for so long, and it's beautiful to me that there are people wearing the same pair of Air Force Ones, in like poor, impoverished countries across the world as some fucking 21-year-old frat dude at Pitt. I think that's awesome. I think that's really fucking cool. So like there's a history built into shoes in themselves, an inherent relationship between them. And that's why I want to continue doing that. And that's like why I do the other art with shoes. It's not because I don't want to do shoes anymore. It's because sometimes a project calls for the the advantages of the 3D world, or the advantages of AR art, or the advantages of physical pieces. And some projects require the correlation between them. So like I think if you're somebody that is looking to get into customs, it's hard for me to believe, unless you just literally want to paint anything for a living, like if just doing art will make you happy, then that's awesome. But to me, painting on shoes needs to make sense for some reason other than I just want to paint on shoes, because
Yeah.
eventually you will have to pivot. But if you can start with a reason for doing it and keep that in mind, then you don't have to pivot. All your work won't be in vain. You won't have to leave it behind. You're doing it for a specific reason off the rip. So even whenever you do new shit, it's all going to make sense together.
Yeah. No, I think everybody's work will be valued in scarcity at the end of it. Because at some point you're gonna want to branch off, do something else. Like for me, I made this goal at 21. I'm not 21 anymore. I'm 31. It's 10 years difference. My
Yeah.
goals aren't the same. And so like sometimes chasing the shoes and doing them full time like that, it just doesn't hit the same as it did. I be real, bro. I hit a lot of my goals. And I think I blinked and I realized that. Like I got to work with Copic. I got to do a big brand job with some of my childhood friends, or a childhood friend. I got to make a really close friend through it. Like I've met amazing people. I got to teach what I was doing. I got to collab with literally the biggest brands in anime. Like what more could I fucking ask for? Maybe I don't have the environment around me looking the way I want it to, but I did the things I really wanted to do, and I blinked and it happened. And I was like, whoa, what do I do now? And it just kind of hit a little different. It feels easier to hand off. You know, a really close friend of mine, JV, he's here. He's actually been here for like 6 months. He's helped me countless times. He started off as a student, as somebody that I felt bad for because his work sucks so fucking much that like it did, bro.
Shout out
It did.
JV.
It for real, it did suck. But he had like a potential, like an innocence in him that I could see really make it. And I was like, that's what you need. That's what the craft needs. But his work was just ass. So I was like, I can work on that. We can fix that. We can. Like, he's putting out quality in a different style that's just as equal to mine. And it blows my fucking mind because 4 years ago, he was not doing that. It's actually fucking insane. And the idea that like I help nurture that feels good. I don't need anything else. I mean, I already have a ton of other friends that are doing great too, but JV was my first student and he's technically kind of my last. So it's like, it's been really cool. A lot of my brand collabs and stuff. Like, I want to spend more time with Corinne. I can't see myself hopping on a plane, flying all over and doing different types of conventions and shit. But he's a single dude. And he's younger than I am. I can see him do it. And he's the type of person I want to see succeed. And I feel like out of all the accomplishments I've had, it's cool to be able to like, and even if his resolve is different, bro, he could be like 2 years in and you know what, man, I really want to spend time with my family. I don't think this is gonna, I'd be happy with that resolve too, because that's what I wish I did sometimes. So it's like, I think that's really the cool part about feeling when you actually like have somebody you trust with the work you're doing and the line of work you're doing and giving them a chance to do things that you couldn't or you don't feel you can. It's tight. And I think everybody should really have that experience. Sean probably has a ton of them. He don't even know.
Oh, he knows. Oh,
like,
he knows.
Oh, if it's, I know too. Like,
I think we all know a few of them. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like there's just that part of you want to it'd be nice to be close to at least one of them, right? It'd be nice to at least truly fuck with one of them, right? Like that's tight. If you can have that, I think that's winning. Then the other ones don't really cross your mind. It's like you succeeded and having at least one person that like, but even at that, Sean's telling his own different story. I have a very my work unintentionally became an industry standard of what the shoes should look like. My style became that. Like, if you do customs on Vans, this is the anime characters and how you place them. And that was kind of a weird experience for me because it got jacked everywhere. And I'm like, that's weird. It's like now I don't really get to define myself as that style. It's everybody's. It really showed me like, you put shit out on the internet, bro, it's not yours anymore. It's not. It's not. And it's crazy. It's crazy to think that. So you continue to try to redo and put out a new style. And then that gets taken. And it's just like, you're reminded once again, it's the internet, like it's going to get taken from you.
See, it's like my only issue really is when people try to pretend like they didn't get a concept or idea from you. It's like, okay, you copy or you mimic and all that. Like, I'm cool, bro. It's art, but like, don't pretend like you did it. You see what I'm saying? And it's just like, when people, because people within every community, I'm sure, like even yours, like with Vans, like there are people that tend to maybe get jealous, or I think it's natural, right, for people to want what you have, right? Like, especially if there are people that think that they're as good as you or better than you, that they think that they should be where you're at. They see your success or anybody else's success and low key get jealous. And I'm not saying it maybe in a mean or malicious way, but sometimes it's a natural human emotion, but you have to keep it in check. And people, try to criticize work, like I've had people say stuff maybe like about my work or maybe try to talk trash, but then it's like at the same time, the stuff that you're doing is influenced by me. So how are you trying to downplay what I'm doing when you just did something to a tongue tag?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Like I wasn't the first one to do the stuff that I do, I'm sure, but I'm the first one to, I guess I can say, popularize it or make it to where people do it. Like before me, when it came to tongue tags, people were just airbrushing onto the tongue tag that's already on the shoe. Nobody was really removing tongue tags and then switching them to leather and putting designs on it,
Yeah.
right? Like Dylan was doing tutorials on swooshes before I started, but nobody was flipping swooshes in the way that I was doing it, before me.
Yeah.
Adding the accessories and the style that I did, making shoes not wearable in the style that I did. And so it's just like I've never understood why people would try to, like I said, copy, but then act like they're not, but then also try to downplay people that they got inspiration from and pretend like they didn't help them within, their creative
Yeah.
process. Like, bro, it's okay to say, hey, you got an idea from somebody. Like I've said it all the time. Like the first person I saw do a Nimbus swoosh was Austin Jar Customs, bro. Like I have no shame in my game. If I see something that I like, I have
Yeah.
no problem telling people that, hey man, I
Mhm.
like that idea. I got it from him, bro. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, you're right. Honestly, if you said you're introverted, so you stay to yourself most of the time, which means you're pretty much probably your own therapist. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the time, man, when somebody does some stuff like that to you and it's not talked about, you feel like your own energy is contaminated, like it's been corrupted, and it's hard to get out of that mindset because you're like, did they mean to wrong me? And your brain starts making up all types of shit that isn't even currently going on right now. Like it does, it because it hits you at home where
Yeah.
you're passionate about the thing you're doing and you put it out to the world and it kind of got shit on.
Yeah.
And so you're like, well, fuck. For me, and for you, I will say I agree with you. Your style is the first time I ever saw that. You've been doing customs for about 5 years, four.
Going on 3.
Yeah. In 10 years, I've never seen that. That was not a thing.
Yeah.
And for somebody to try to, for a community to try to rob you from that isn't fair. It's like, no, that was not a fucking thing. I remember. That's how I found your stuff, bro. I can't count how many Copic Vans designers sent me your work before I actually gave you a follow because you weren't popping up on my stuff, but it was enough to get them moving to send you to me. I was like, yeah, I'd never seen it, just never seen it before, and it falls in line right with what I'm doing. It's just I don't really. It becomes a silly race when somebody wants to feel internally that they're better. I think it's actually more of a struggle of where they're trying to determine where they fall with their own art. And so they're like, well, I put out a quality like similar to his. I'm just as good. It's like, that's not what makes you good. It's not the quality is one portion of it. It's it's how willing are you to share it. You
Mhm.
could have posted your work without ever putting fucking paint in the photos and nobody would guess how you did your shit. Same way with my work. If I was to have posted my Copic work and never put a Copic in my work, you'd never guess what I did. Never. Just wouldn't. You'd think my work is printed. And it's just one of those things. It's like you were willing to share that. And it's not so much about who's better. It's the question to everyone else. What are you willing to share that's different?
Mhm.
Like what are you willing to put out there? If you want to be better, share more than I am. Like give more, you know, and quality content, which is why it pisses you off so much when somebody shares something that's not right. It's like because they're so quick to put it out. Like, no, sit your ass down, figure the shit out, and post something that's actually facts,
Mhm.
that has some weight behind it, that somebody can take from that video, go and test, and not have to question if it works or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's truly putting out something that people can absorb. And then it gets all complicated in other ways of how you teach that. But nonetheless, the point is, I think it's a silly race to try to be better,
Mhm.
which is why I like Shoebaker so much. It's like,
Yeah.
you should just be different, bro. Like, just do your own fucking thing. Like, you'll succeed.
Yeah,
Just Look at my page. Look at my page and do everything that I am not.
Pretty much. Hey, I just tell people the same thing. It's like when I started my shoes, I tried to make my stuff. I didn't want myself to look like anybody else that was popular. I didn't want to look like Serato. I didn't want to like Dylan, anything. And it worked for me. You know, I took shoes and again was making them non-wearable or over the top designs and all of that stuff. And people liked it. Like you don't have to copy something that works for somebody else, right? Because it's not you. And again, the copier is gonna harm you more than help you because you're always going to be in the shadow of the original person. And I remember it's like when I had to get used to it, and I remember Zach was my counselor, bro. And I was like, man, am I overreacting? And you know, he would be like, yeah, bro, man, it's not that big of a deal.
I don't sound like that, you son of a bitch.
Wait, it's funny, right? Because when it first started happening to me and I didn't really know how to take it, but hey, bro, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. I wish somebody would copy my stuff. No, you shouldn't be mad. If somebody copy your stuff, Zach would be mad. No, not at all, bro. As soon as people started copying this stuff, it was hot.
Okay. You know what?
He's like, you're right.
You're right. But I also have blessed because the people that have copied my stuff have either tagged me or messaged me privately. And that's been enough. I don't need any more than that. Plus, like, dude, I mean, it's different, you know? Because it's like, you guys are talking about you can't.
Yeah, different.
Yeah, it is.
It's different. Yeah.
You're talking about how when you include, you know, you like when your content's based around you, right? You include the shoe at the end. It's like, how is somebody can get incredibly close to copying that, do everything the exact same way, but it's not their life, so it's not going to be the same. That's how I feel about my art. How the fuck are you going to copy anything I do? Because everything has a concept attached to it. I openly share that. So I'm like,
why were you mad, Zach?
Well, I was mad because
I feel the press meter going up.
yeah. I'm getting turned into a diamond from coal right now, dude. The pressure's killing me. No, I was mad because like there was one person that at the time I didn't feel like was doing it justice. So like you know, you were talking about, you know, how people will copy it and not give you credit, and they gave me credit, but it was just irritating because it was like the whole point of doing this was to apply a concept that makes sense, you know, that I felt. And when you take that concept away and you just make it look the same, it just cheapens what I'm doing. And that was a frustrating part, is like if they made something that looks similar and they had their own reason for it, whether they shared it or not, it doesn't really matter to me. It's like if you have your own concept, your own reason behind doing it, that's cool. I don't mind if you took inspiration from it. In fact, if you take all inspiration and then add one thing that's different, I am so pumped about it. Like so pumped.
Yeah.
I love being people's foundation. So like that's cool. The frustrating part to me was like, you know, I like the way that you do this brush stroke. I like these color combinations. I like the dyed sole to it. I'm going to do those three things, make a video about it, get hella views, and then move on. I'm like, well, you just kind of fucked me over is what you really did, because you showed a bunch of people the same thing, the same aesthetic that I'm doing, except you don't have a concept to it. So now they don't see a concept.
It's unfortunately your influence, but wrong.
Yeah.
Like it's like you got robbed, bro. It's like that. And it's hurtful. It's truthfully, when you get to it and you get to our personal, never, if somebody was around you in person and they were close enough, like if we were actually in person, we hung out every day, nowhere in my fucking mind would I ever think to do what you're doing because that would hurt you.
Yeah.
It'd just be like, hey, bro, like, I'm not trying to be on some soft shit, but that like bothered me. Like, why would you do that? And for real. And then Sean too, you know, imagine being around Sean all the time, and then I'm like, oh, hey, bro, yeah, by the way, like I did these. And then that show,
it's the same, yeah.
It's just like, okay, can we talk about it? But why? You know?
Can we talk about it?
Bro, for real. It's like that. I think one of the things I've disliked the most is when my reference, which I mean, everybody has access to the reference. It's whatever, bro. It's not mine. I get it. But fuck, like, really? The same thing? You didn't want to at all spend a different 8 hours in me? Like, And it takes me about 8 hours to fully draw and color a full pair. So it's like, you want to spend the exact same amount of time I did and have the same experience. You don't want to try something different, like do something maybe you haven't seen before. But I will say a lot of that is on me though, because when I started teaching, I was very gracious with giving my style out. That's the problem. Like, I was too nice for myself. They didn't do anything wrong. People didn't do anything wrong, but I put out all this shit and I said, you can use my style, you can do this, just use it to get to the point where you can do your own thing. But if what they're doing is working, which it is working because it got me to where I'm at, why would they want to do anything different?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just giving them the key to what I have, access to what I have. And in a sense, it's the same thing. I find that it's easier to get over things when I blame myself.
Me too.
Because when I can I can forgive myself. It's hard to forgive other people. Like, so, I mean, it's kind of the same thing with yours. You put out this amazing concept in this colorway, but maybe the thing that didn't come across the most was your concept. And they just took what they visually saw because it's the most appealing thing. It's what originally what drew people in, which means that in your own creative, your own criticism to yourself is like, how can you expand on your concept more?
Right.
To where it's relatable.
Mm-hmm.
And then reel them in with the art, or the palettes or the strokes. Or I think your future with the VR shoes is, or AR shoes, VR. It could be VR. Is but that's going somewhere. There's no way with the way things are working now that doesn't have a place in the future. Even if it's not in the same concept you think, it's there. You know, it's like it's there. It's present. So I'm very curious. That's one of the things that drew me to conversations with you. I'm very curious to what your next 4 or 5 years look like, because it's a massive I don't know.
Yeah, it really is, bro.
And I think that's really cool.
Me too.
So
I love the way you said that, bro, for so many different reasons. And I think that one of my favorite things about like what we get to do is, regardless of what you're trying to build and your style or whatever, it's, everything's about communication to me. It's perspective, it's communication, it's adaptability. So like, I have the option whenever I'm making a pair of shoes to choose what I want to do. I can go based off my heart or my mind or both or whatever. And then I have the choice of how to communicate that on the shoe, and I have the choice of how to communicate that in content. And I think that's beautiful. I think it's cool that like you can make mistakes in multiple different ways. You can learn, you can do the perfect shoe and communicate it the wrong way and learn it that way. And it can be sad. You can be like, well, I fucked that up. Like, that was the perfect project. But it's also just really cool because there may be some projects that like ultimately didn't come out the exact way you wanted to, but whenever it was finished, you're like, oh, this could be a cool way to present it. And it goes great and people love it, And that's where I'm at with the AR shoes. And that's why I appreciate you saying that. And I also think it's the coolest, like, I don't know, where it's stressful from a personal level, where I'm like, well, in 5 years, I'm going to be 31 as well. And, what do I want my life to look like? If everything is the same way that it is now, where, you're trying to work, get money however you can to keep the dream going. And, every day is a min-max of spending time with your friends and your loved ones. It works, bro. It works. Leave me alone. You got both play games. I can say it. Every day is like a min-max of your time of like, you get home and you've just worked, 8 hours. And then it's like, well, I got to do this, this, and this. I want to spend time with my friends. I want to spend time with my girlfriend. And I want some personal time to do some journaling and reflect, right? So like every day, my time is fully allocated exactly how I feel I need to for that day. And am I okay doing that for the next 5 years and just trying to figure out how the fuck I can communicate this? It's equal parts scary and equal parts really exciting to see where it goes, for sure.
What's your item level right now?
Oh, bro, I'm doing raids, so I just hit level 90.
Wait, what are you playing?
Just some fucking hypothetical game right now, some MMO. Sean always shits on me for saying min-max, but I feel like it's like the perfect way of describing it.
Well,
right?
it's because only gamers know what that is. So whenever he says it, I'll just be like, hey,
You
bro.
should just brand it, bro, at this point.
Put min-max on a t-shirt.
Bro, fucking put it somewhere. If you're saying it that much, brand it. Fuck it.
Hey, right, he's right. Put it on
You got a
t-shirt.
podcast going, bro. You have a podcast going.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, your brain has to move a little different too. Like do you guys know of another sneaker podcast?
There's Best Foot Forward that Vic and Ann do.
Okay.
Silovic and Studio Duskus. And I think that's the only other one. There have been some passing lives, groups of people that would do lives, and but I think that's the only other customized podcast.
Yeah, like I was fixing to say, because before yours, I honestly hadn't heard of it. I know Twitch had tried to do one, didn't work out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really hadn't. I thought this was just a really cool thing, bro. Like, as soon as I saw it, I didn't say nothing, but I really wanted to be on it. Only because talking to you guys is really cool. I very much like Sean. I'm an introvert. I mind my fucking business. Like, if this person isn't really in my daily life, good luck talking to me. But I like you guys. Like, I really like this. I like what you do. You, Dylan, Sean, like, you guys have something really fucking cool, and it's very rare to make friends in the workspace, but I think it works for you guys because you all do something different. So you don't feel like you have to step on each other's toes, and you can help each other out if you want to, like, hey, like, I like this. Could we, like, find a way to collaborate and do that? I still got a collab I gotta do with Sean. Still got tons of shit I gotta do with Sean. We just don't even. He hit me up once. I forgot what he said. He's like, "We're gonna do that collab, bro," and I just, like, my brain was like, "Fuck, that's right." I really. It's like one of those projects, the projects you really want to do them, and then they somehow get stashed away, and then they come back up, and you're like, "Fuck, I did really want to do that." Like,
not enough time in the world, bro.
Yeah, it for sure we'll make it happen one day. Maybe we just need to continue to not plan it, and then just pop the fuck up and do something cool.
That's what I want to see. I want to see you guys move in silence. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to do some leather work, over this Tales of Arise job. And I got to learn a lot more about y'all's into the craft, and they're equally difficult in their own ways. They really are. Like, I feel with painting, you get more time to think, like a little bit more time to think. But it can be so draining, bro. It can be so draining doing layers over and over. Now, Copic is faster. But everything, when you have the experience and you move forward, it feels like it goes smooth. Maybe it's because I have the most experience, I'm able to say that. But regardless, I feel Copic is harder as far as the drawing portion of it, because you can't, it's just different. But
yeah, you can't make any mistakes.
Yeah, but on my end, I can, if you got that difficulty down, you got that experience, you can burn through a pair and you can be done with it. But with painting, it's a different type of mental grind, bro. It's like switching gears. It's so different. And I really could not fathom, like, after doing how many pairs we did, I couldn't fathom how it is for you guys that every single pair is like this. It's not that it's horrible, it's that it's very time consuming. It takes so much more of your time. That's wild to me. Yeah, so I could see why people have a harder time painting. It's just time consuming, bro, massively. And you got to have skill. It's not like it's easy. So
Well,
Yeah.
and see, dude, like as you're talking about this, even in I haven't tried Copic, so I can't attest to that process. But the time for me is great now that like I have multiple mediums because I can do an AR shoe in a morning if I want. You know,
Damn.
I have everything set up fully. It took me months to do it, but like now that it's set up and I have the templates in place, I have all the materials made, all custom materials. I can drag and drop, change colors, and then do some experimenting. But the cool thing about like AR and 3D is I can go on my iPad and I can like make dots, you know, on Procreate, save that as a PNG, bring that into, you know, the software, and then immediately apply that to the AR shoe in whatever way I want. So because of that, you have like infinite creativity and it's a very fast process if you know what you're doing. So it's cool because like the painting is like therapeutic, you know, it's like slowing down. It's the ebb and flow of the two. When you're talking about the Copic marker, bro, you told me this before, you know, you have a limited amount of time. You know, it's you have to understand not only like where you're at while you're doing it, but also like being attentive of where the markers are at and how much
Yeah.
bleed they have and the fraying of the nibs, everything about it, right? And it's the same thing with paintbrushes, but because we've been doing painting for so long, it's like you don't even fucking think about it.
Yeah.
So
He's
to
like, oh, I need a new one.
yeah, so to relearn that and also be on a like built-in timer while you're making them, oh dude, I'm sure I could do it after a while, but I just even the thought of it makes me anxious. That's
It,
stressful.
it's a different, it's just a different, it'll give you anxiety your first few times because the ink's bleeding all over the place and you're scared to see what it's going to look like. And I try to tell everybody that just starts out, hey bro, expect your first pair to be a fuck up. It's just experimenting. You just need to learn the techniques and understand how the markers bleed. Don't
Yeah.
let the illusion of what the art looks like bother you. You need to understand the tools before you get it to look like what you want. And that's a hard hurdle to overcome. You just gotta be open-minded that even your first like 5 pair are experimental. And I think if you can not beat yourself up over that, you're able to get past that threshold and experiment more. But I've seen so many people try on their first pair and then fucking quit. It's just like
Yeah.
it's too expensive. The markers are like $7-8 each. They know that they need like
Oh my god, bro.
yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah, just on my desk alone, bro. My Copic collection alone. My desk, everything. I got about $13,000 sitting on this fucking desk in
Oh
Copics.
my fucking god, dude.
I shit you not, and ink refills and Copics, and we keep up with all of them. It's very much a investment with a very low percentage of a successful outcome. So you got to be a dreamer to really fucking to make it, because if you're looking at it for what it is, yeah, no, not at all, bro, not at all. It's not for. I think Copic, if I'm to be real with you, is a great addition in a sense for Vans for canvas work to painting.
Mm.
It's that niche. Copic is a niche in the custom community. It's not. It hasn't become a full-on craft in itself. It's like a newborn. It still was being developed. I was still pushing it forward, and that takes time. Even 10 years time scrapes nothing. Do you know who the first painter for shoes were?
Oh fuck. I was told this. They have a book about them now. I don't remember their name. I'm not gonna remember either,
It
but
exactly. But it's so big now. How could anybody know that unless you look it up?
yeah.
It's not the same on my end. You come into the craft, you look directly at me, you know? It's just not the same. I'm trying to build that foundation to where people are going to ask those questions later. I'm not so easy and accessible to find. I may be drowned out and never even fucking known about. But it's become Copic is just a niche to painting and stuff.
Yeah. I think painting is more easier, so easier to access or easily accessible. Just because
Yeah.
you can. Not a lot of people know about Copic markers. Number one,
Yeah.
or alcohol-based markers. Everybody knows about paint, and paint's a lot cheaper, so you don't really have to worry about investing a whole bunch of money and then just be like,
Mhm.
okay, I don't want to do it no
Yeah.
more. You can get a couple colors and just try it out.
Yeah.
So
And three paints can make you just about any color you want.
Mhm.
And it's not like that with Copics. Yeah, it's just kind of shitty. But it's shitty in the financial investment it takes at first. But you can have really badass quality come out of it too. You know.
I think also there's something to be said that like I love the idea of, I know I can't ever do this and it kind of breaks my heart, but like I love the idea of, having a full arsenal of like, mediums, skill sets in different mediums. Cause like canvas, if you can paint on canvas, totally fine, and you can make it last. And I don't know, this may be an unpopular opinion, I don't know honestly, but I think that just painting on canvas, like I hate how it looks and the texture of it. I hate it. I think even if you like really, really thin it down and do a lot of layers, I've never seen a painted pair of canvas shoes that I've thought looked as good as a painted pair of leather shoes, because this paint is for leather. Like that's the point. So like to me, Copics look like very natural on canvas. And that's
Yeah.
like that was what initially drew me into your work. Was I didn't give a single fuck about anime, but like I thought it was super clean. I love the way that you choreographed your content. And I also never saw custom art on canvas that I enjoyed and
Yeah.
until I saw your work. So the artist side of me is like the same way I just wanted to learn 3D because there were things that I could conceive in my head that I couldn't bring into life physically. Now I'm just like, well, I fucking hate painting on canvas, but I don't want to swear off every part of canvas shoe ever, So I would love to learn it sometime.
Yeah. It's I think for you guys, like how Sean incorporates different material. I think one of the things we had talked about was like getting like a canvas solution and me designing that, and then he would incorporate it with his. But I think even just him doing that solo, which, Lord goodness, for anybody who watches this and does it first before you, Sean. But
We're still
I think
small, bro. We're still small.
I think another thing I really like about Sean's work is he can actually fucking draw. He could draw. He does not. He's approaching the anime art style like if he chooses to. I think there was one video. What video did you put on you? I watch all your YouTube videos, by the way.
Thanks.
You did one video where like you did stencil, but I love the fucking way you went about it. Like in no way would I question that Sean can draw.
No, I don't
Not
see
at
how
all.
anybody
I know
does.
I know he's skilled like that. It makes the stenciling not matter. And that's the point I was always getting at, because my community would tell you I'm a fucking broken record with tracing. I'm a broken record with tracing, bro. I hate it. I can't stand it. But it's not that I hate the act of tracing. I hate that the people doing the tracing are not putting in the effort to know how to draw. It's like,
Yeah.
just learn to draw, bro. You can do anything you want, and then you won't even feel like you have to,
Yeah.
unless you're tired for the day and you need to get it done. Then it makes sense. Then go do it.
Yeah.
If your work looks so good, people can't guess if it's drawn or not. I think you're at you know what I mean? You're at a good
Yeah.
point. But I had so many people try to lie to me. I had to kick out people from my Discord because that was my rule, bro. That was my rule. You come in here, no tracing, because everybody's doing sketch sheets. And I would see these clean fucking lines on a sketch sheet. It's a sketch, bro. I see these clean fucking lines, and I'm like,
Almost
really?
balding right now, dude.
Yeah,
I'm in PTSD.
I'm like, really, bro? Really? But the Discord community was also so good for me because I learned so much. Like, and even in my craft, like I don't really think they get enough highlights. If you don't mind, I'm gonna use a little bit of time to shout out some people
No,
on my
please
end.
do. Please do.
So
We're
like,
gonna have to wrap it up in a sec too. So this is
yeah.
perfect.
So Lotus, and if you just type in Lotus and custom van, she's gonna come up.
We'll include them
Shoes by
down
Lotus.
below on
Yeah.
yeah.
Lotus, there's so many of them, but Lotus, Gates of Art, Art by Bueno, Edgar, And I'm just naming the ones that are pretty consistent. Leo, Da Vinci Customs, Da Vinci Customs. Shit, why is it so fucking difficult to think of people when you actually want to name them? They should know who I'm talking about. Just put it that way. And I'll give you some more names to, I'll send you a list. But these people are all, they mean so much in ways that they don't think, because I don't talk to them consistently. I can't, there's just no way. But they've all helped me grow in some type of way. And in a sense of, I learned what it was like to teach. I learned what it was like to help somebody develop my style into their own style. I got to see other people grow. Like, these people are pretty much carrying everything that I've been doing, and they helped me get to where I'm at, because without teaching, I don't think I'd actually be as, my work would look the way it does. Having to be in that state of mind, you have to revise and word things properly all the time and revisit your own process. If I asked you to teach me every day how you do AR shoes, you're going to have to be like, go through every step of your process, that you're going to be like, well, wait a minute, what if I did this? And wait a minute, well, what if I did that? Well, maybe this might work better, because you're having to see it every day. So as much as, it comes into that portion of, somebody may look at my work and say, like, my work is better, I am only this way because of everybody else. So it's not really fair. I'm very confident in my work, and I know I put in the work, and I know I've been very giving, but I think there's a lot of shoe designers out there in my craft that should be getting more credit than they deserve, and it's just hard to give that, because they have to vocalize it, they have to take it. But they're good people. There's a lot of good people. Almost everybody in my Discord is fucking badass, and they're really beneficial to me. And not just as friends, but they help me grow as an artist. I'm taking that into my next chapter, and it's going to relate in my work going forward in my videos. Some of them may be in them and they don't even know it. But yeah, I just want it to be known that everybody that has ever picked up a Copic marker and tried to do what I've been teaching, you mean the absolute world. It grew because of you guys. So it's been really tight. I think it got as far because of everybody else, not because of me.
Dude, that's fucking beautiful. I also, you kind of, I'm in your boat now. Now I'm getting all sentimental, because I was just telling my girlfriend this the other day that, like, right now, you in a way are like reflecting, back on these people. And like I said, for sure, just send me the list after this. I'll just include them all in the description, and whatever you want me to put after their names as well. But like right now, with the SAT AR days and watching them grow, like slowly but surely, it's been so cool. Like, man, it's hard for me to communicate how appreciative I am that every single week people take time out of their day, even just to hop on Snapchat and send like a small clip. And some people are so creative. Like the vast majority of people that send in clips are so creative and like are excited to see them every week. And it makes me more excited to make them better and to improve it. And like, oh man, it's just the most unbelievable feeling. So like, yeah, I totally get you, and it gets me all sentimental thinking about it too, because I'm like, these are people just like everybody, they have their own lives. Like, my priorities aren't more important than any of theirs. They just appreciate what I'm trying to do and are willing to take time out of their life to contribute to it. And it makes everything worth it on a day-to-day level. So
yeah,
what's up?
We all, like, looking at you, bro, like, when you ask me, I feel so bad when I miss it. But I see you, I can see you getting sentimental, and like for real, like, that even means a lot. Like, we all get up and do this shit every fucking day. Every day. There's no way the support goes unnoticed. And sometimes it may not feel that way to people, because we need a break from the phone, not the people. But I feel you on that, man. It's like, we do it every day, bro. You do this every day. Your brain's on rotate for this shit. You want to see it grow. So it's like, of course, it's just, it's tight. It's cool to see, because I see that, and I'm like, yeah, bro, your next 4 or 5 years definitely is great for sure.
And not just every day for free.
Yeah.
Preach.
Yeah.
For free.
Yeah, Sean's right. It's a lot to put out and give, and sometimes it's hard when you feel like you're not getting back, but then that's just the role we play, isn't it? We get back in other ways that may not be in the way we want, but when we do get it in the way we want, sometimes in the form of support, it feels fucking great.
Yeah,
it's tight. It's really tight.
Yeah.
And before we close, not only for free, but sometimes it just goes unnoticed, because like we talk about all the time, you can spend hours and hours and hours making stuff and get 5 views, but then you do it again for another 5 views, and you do it because you're passionate about it and you appreciate those 5 views enough to keep it going. So
yeah. And a last bit of advice for anybody that heard that part, what Sean was saying: just repost your shit. Repost it on TikTok. Like, make a separate account and spam it, and just include your Instagram, and you'll see your shit. That's just some marketing advice. But just because it's a piece of art, like you spend that 5 hours or 8 hours on it, you got 5 fucking views, even more of a reason to repost it. If you are playing the numbers game, just repost shit till one of them goes off. There's accounts, bro, that just spam the same fucking video, and it works. It's like, if it works, it works. I've been on TikTok. I deleted all my videos, and I've only kept 3 up, and I still take them down. I take them down, and then I'll repost 3 more, because there's nothing for people to actually see on my feed but those 3 videos, so they click on all 3. It's more effective than if you go look at my page, you'll see it. Like, it's more effective than just letting my page scroll, because then people can get lost in the projects. But if they only got 3 to focus on, they can comment, like, do whatever, and then
damn, bro. I guess in that way, like, if you're posting your artwork too and you want to take a lot of it down, I would recommend, if you are going the art direction, then having a website too as like a portfolio to keep that there, because then you don't have to worry about like content. You can focus on growing with that, but then you still have all your projects up if somebody needs to see a log of them.
Yeah. Oh, bro, a website's absolutely necessary. It's like the only thing on social media or on these platforms that is not going to change.
Yeah.
And it's your website. You display it however you want.
So cool. Yeah.
But bro, this shit's been tight, man. Like, I'm like looking at the time. I'm like, we really got hot. Like, we really got a dip on this shit. Like,
I know,
it's
bro.
cool. It's cool. Like, maybe again sometime catch up with you guys.
Oh, dude, absolutely. I was just gonna say that, Alma. Thank you so much for coming on, brother. Like, I love talking to you in private, and it makes me so happy that you're willing to come on and share a lot of your knowledge with people. Because I think that you have an absolutely disgusting amount of knowledge to share. And I think there are many different topics that we could talk about and have equally as great of a discussion. So I appreciate you coming on, brother.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah. Hey, once again, man, you guys, both of you, are crazy talented, man. Like, I have a lot of respect for the both of you, and I'm excited to see where both of you end up. It's crazy. I guess you get used to being in the main seat and having people support you, but it's really cool being on this end and getting to see you guys and supporting you. So it's tight, and I really do wish the best for the both of you.
Appreciate it, brother.
Boss. You too. And thank you guys so much for listening to this as well while we're wrapping this up. I hope you guys got a ton of value from this. I say this at the end of all of our Instagram lives too, but the main reason we do these kinds of things and have people on is to share like a new perspective and give you guys more value than just the 3 of us are able to. So like, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and if you did, then please like, comment, and subscribe and help us out. It's always going to help the algorithm, especially when we're trying to grow on YouTube. And to everybody that's been supporting on social medias, thank you so much. And we'll talk to you soon. We're out.
Peace.
All right, later, guys. Y'all take it easy.
You too, boss.
Brother.
Peace.